Getting back to some of the teachings from Barbara O'Neill's seminar, and actually something that I knew prior to going to that, just from having listened to her and doing some research on my own, is the fact that we should be doing our best to avoid non-natural fibers. And I will be shopping sometimes, looking at clothing labels to see if it's something that I want to buy or not. And I always struggle to remember specifically what I'm not supposed to be buying versus what I should be buying. And there's a good little acronym that she gave me, which is NAP. And now I've made it into more of a statement in that don't nap in nappy fibers, but we really don't want to wear them at all, let alone take a nap in them. And a lot of blankets I find are made out of one of these three materials, which is nylon, acrylic, or polyester. Those are very unsafe products for our body, if you will. They can be very harsh on the skin. A lot of times they contain chemicals. They themselves are chemicals, they're plastics. They're not necessarily anything that is doing our body a favor. And if we think about the skin being the largest organ on our body, we want to do our best to enhance it and help it as much as possible versus doing things that are detrimental to it. So again, it's pretty simple. Think about nap, nylon, acrylic, or polyester. Avoid those and tend to favor things like cotton, linen, and wool. Linen and wool specifically, if we look at principles from the Bible or teachings from the Bible, a lot of the ancient figures wore linen, white linens. You think about the angels, they're coming down in their white linens, or wool. And there are reasons for that, many reasons actually. But one of them is the frequency that those materials emit. And so linen and wool are both at 5,000 angstroms, which is a measure of vibrant light coming out of them. And we can really help enhance our immune system by wearing these materials. Linen in particular, and wool in particular. Cotton isn't quite as high. Cotton, I think, is more about 100 angstroms versus linen and wool, which are at 5,000. And that's why they used to do hospital beds with linen sheets. That's why they're called linens, because they technically were really linen. In Japan, I was just reading that they still use linen bed sheets, and they have a much higher rate of healing with their hospital patients, or more rapid, if you will, because they're using this. And so linen has antimicrobial benefits. It's really great at I forget the actual word for it, but it doesn't repel moisture because it does get wet, but it dries very quickly and it helps the skin to feel cooled when that happens. It is hypoallergenic, and it's really a great boost for our immune system. And so it's just a layer of protection, basically, you'll think of it this way, that you can put on your body to help yourself. I would say the one downfall of linen that I find, at least, is that it wrinkles. And I know a lot of people don't really care for that, but I was listening to a lecture, I think by Sadhguru the other day, and he was discussing how now in some countries it's becoming trendy to have wrinkled clothing because it's showing that you're wearing the natural fibers and that you're aware enough to put these natural fibers on your body to help yourself. And I would just encourage you again to avoid the nappy fibers, nylon, acrylic, and polyester in favor of things like linen, wool, and cotton. I don't do so well with wool because it makes me very itchy, but I do well enough with cotton and linen. And I actually over the summer was on a mission to find some new linen clothing. And I went to TJ Maxx, and lo and behold, they had a ton of it. So it is readily available. It's easy to find. It's not very expensive. So again, I would just encourage you to really take this to heart and do yourself a favor and start wearing different natural fibers versus synthetic fibers.